Okay. Okay, welcome to our Bay Ward session for small business to give information to those in Bay Ward. Thank you very much for coming out. I'm Theresa Kavanagh, City Councillor. We have some contact information here for you on how to reach me and reach my office. This is our first time reaching out to small business. One of the things that's I find in Bay Ward is we do not have a business association or a BIA. So I was very happy to go door to door and with my staff, and my staff helped me out quite a bit, going door to door, just to talk to some of our small business owners here in Bay Ward and get them information. Perhaps they're not in an association, but they still deserve information and find out what's going on with the city. So this is the way we're distributing it. And that's why this meeting is being recorded so that people can refer to it later. But I thank those who are here. So what I'm going to do is introduce Mike Bureau, who is with the city. And he is an economic development officer, and he's going to give you the presentation. But thank you very, very much for coming out.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Councillor. We'll go to slide 3. Thank you, Dan. Excuse me. So good evening, everyone. And thank you again to Councillor Kavanagh and her office for the invitation. As mentioned, my name is Mike Bureau, and I'm here with my colleague, Dan Oliver. We both work for the City of Ottawa as economic development officers. We're within the Planning, Real Estate, and Economic Development Department. So for this slide, just to give you some background context of economic development within the City of Ottawa. So the ultimate mandate of economic development is to make Ottawa the most livable and attractive mid-sized city. So on this slide, you can see our 4 key areas of focus. So I'm going to go ahead and assume this audience will be most interested with the urban services. So as you probably know, this forms the backbone of economic activity within the city. Local residents and visitors rely on Main Street businesses to provide them with a positive quality of life and also contribute to local economic activity. Ultimately, any business and or Main Street is seeking to make their area as attractive as possible to generate a high level of foot traffic and economic activity. So I think the goal of this presentation is to provide you with some general information, but I know Dan and I assume Councillor Kavanagh in her office would be happy to do. I did it with another BIA. I've done it with a business association and councillors as well, just to do kind of like a walking tour, an informal meetup of your areas, of your business, of your Main Street, whatever that might look like. So we'd be happy to do a walking tour of those areas, along with obviously Councillor Kavanagh for schedule permits. And really just to seek any ideas or suggestions that either we may have or you as the business owner may have that can assist with your business. Next slide, please. So the first tool to discuss is the small business property tax subclass. So some of you may have heard of this, but ultimately the history of this was that the province of Ontario gave municipal governments in Ontario the option of pursuing this financial tool within a COVID era. Excuse me. So with that, the mayor and Ottawa City Council chose to pursue this option, and finance services staff within the City of Ottawa led this project and initiative. Finance staff did extensive public consultation with relevant stakeholders, which included numerous small business groups and organizations. Ultimately, this led to City Council approving the small business property tax subclass in October of 2021. And I'll mention this numerous times, but we'll provide a copy of this presentation in PDF format to the councillor's office. And they can distribute it to individuals on this call and any email contact list that she may have. But if I could draw your attention to the last bullet on this slide, it's a link to YouTube, and you can watch the presentation by finance services staff that they gave to FEDCO, which is the Finance and Economic Development Committee. Councillor Kavanagh is on that committee, was at that meeting, so she's obviously very aware of this presentation. I would encourage you all to watch this for more context and information. Next slide, please. So one of the questions I had, and that perhaps tenants and business owners may have, who are not necessarily property owners that receive a tax bill, does my landlord or owner of the property have to pass down the reduction to the business owner if their property is deemed eligible? I spoke with finance services staff, and this is an ongoing discussion, but ultimately the city cannot enforce this. But when they will be mailing out notices to eligible property owners, they will be encouraging those property owners to pass down the reduction to their tenants once they're mailing out these notices. Ultimately, as most of you probably know, the city mails out property taxes to the landlord property owner. If you are a tenant, you should discuss this initiative with your landlord. And again, we will be providing this presentation to the councillor's office, and there's relevant links and a specific email contact that will take you to staff and finance services who ultimately led this initiative. Next slide, please. So this is just a general overview of a timeline of what that looks like. So you can see key dates and implementation of when the small business property tax subclass will be taking place. Next slide, please. So I'm sure most, if not all of you, are aware of federal government financial supports, but we just wanted to list them here as a review and a reminder. Again, these are all linked to the relevant websites. So if you are familiar, but you might have some more questions, you'll have that there. And then if you weren't familiar, it'll give you good, background context. Next slide, please. So what can you do as a small business owner? So we, the City of Ottawa, obviously are not here to tell any business owner how to run their business, but rather we're here to assist you in maximizing your overall success. So first, I would encourage you to visit ottawa.ca, where we have a list of, and that's the first bullet, visit ottawa.ca, where we have a list of several grant programs that you may be eligible to apply for. There's also several resources related to COVID, and Ottawa Public Health has some great information and posters for businesses. Second, regarding social media and websites, if you're looking for assistance on these items, I would encourage you to connect with Invest Ottawa and Digital Main Street. So just some background on these two organizations. So Invest Ottawa is provided funding from the City of Ottawa. Mayor Watson is the co-chair of their board. As well, Invest Ottawa is the lead economic development agency for knowledge-based industries in Canada's capital, facilitating economic growth and job creation in Ottawa. They also deal extensively with small businesses. So I'd encourage you to check out their website and reach out to them. Digital Main Street, for those of you that haven't heard of them, it's built around an online learning platform, structured training programs, and they have a digital service squad with the overall goal to help Main Street businesses grow and manage their business through the adoption of digital tools and technology. If you are on social media, that's great. I'm sure you're aware of this, but I've included two main hashtags that the City of Ottawa might use, elected officials might use, and that businesses commonly use within the Ottawa business social media environment. Additionally, you can connect with local business organizations. So Ottawa Board of Trade is a great link to what is happening within the city's business community. Ottawa Tourism is more focused on tourism to the capital, but also good to connect with. And they have a strong pulse on events that are happening in the city. The Ottawa Coalition of Business Improvement Areas, also known as a COBIA, would be a great link if you're interested in starting a BIA. But I'll mention it later on in my presentation. If this is a path you're looking to take about forming a BIA, you definitely want to start with your city councillor before any BIA discussion. And finally, RGA is more or less the same as Ottawa Board of Trade, but just as a Francophone organization. Next slide, please. Some other innovative and out-of-the-box suggestions that we could help facilitate would be connect with the following organizations. So the Ottawa Film Office and the Ottawa Music Industry Coalition. So I've just mentioned a couple items that you might be interested in. I know I get Ottawa Film Office's monthly newsletters. They're always looking for filming locations. So it's never a bad idea to, you can connect with them. And I know I've been dealing extensively with the executive director of OMIC, Ottawa Music Industry Coalition, and they're looking to partner with really anyone, specifically around, not so much maybe now during the winter, but spring, summer, fall. They did a project. They were given some city grant money to do outdoor music concerts. So it was really getting focused on Main Street areas, doing outdoor concerts that were in public spaces, accessible to all. And then it was really to, try and generate foot traffic in that specific Main Street. So again, we'll be providing this presentation. And I would encourage you to, you can connect with me, I can help facilitate, or you can connect directly with these great local organizations. Next slide, please. So these are other things you can do. And, we can talk further offline. You can email myself, Dan, the councillor, and we can have a broader discussion. But this would require collaboration with your fellow businesses on your respective main streets. So the first thing would be to look into the possibility of a business association or perhaps a BIA. So on the business association, this is less formal. The City of Ottawa would have, we could assist, but it would be completely up to you, and you could manage and run that. Whereas a BIA, the city would have much more involvement. Ultimately, Ottawa City Council approves any new BIAs as well as expansion of current and existing BIAs. Again, I do want to stress, if you are interested in the BIA option, this is something that you want to meet and engage with your city councillor and myself. I would be happy to join any meetings on that. Just from, if you're not familiar with either a business association or BIA, I think a good start could be, and it would potentially require a bit less administrative and governance work, would be to start some sort of business association. So you as the business owners would have complete control of what this business association would look like. I think overall, the main goal, of a business association would be general communication. So communicating with your neighbor, your fellow business owner within the same main street, so what is happening on the street, safety issues, lighting issues, as well as you could organize events, street events, whatever that may look like, whatever works for you. Finally, on the last bullet point, if you are interested in BIAs, again, we can have meetings after the fact, but I would encourage you to first read the Ontario BIA handbook and then communicate again with your city councillor, and I can be part of those conversations as well. Next slide, please. So unfortunately, we had a guest speaker. Her name is Hala Bushi. She was hoping to join us, but unfortunately could not make it due to scheduling conflicts. But she does send her well wishes. She encourages you. On the next slide, I will have her contact information. She encourages any business owner to reach out to her via email. You can have conversations with her. But she was part of she is part of the Elgin Area Business Association, so the EABA. So these two pictures on the left-hand side, you might be familiar with Bushi's Fruit Market. It is now closed, but that is Hala and her family's connection to Elgin Street. So this is at the corner of Elgin and Waverley, if you're familiar with downtown on Elgin Street. And on the right-hand side is Bushi Square. So the family is very well known in Ottawa, and specifically on Elgin Street. And the City of Ottawa, I believe, I want to say 2018, rename this area. It's just beside the former Bushy's Fruit Market. They renamed it Bushy Square. So it's a great public space. It has some murals, and it's kind of a gateway to Jack Purcell Park, which also has a dog park. So it's a very common area. So just some great initiatives from business associations. Next slide, please. So I don't need to read through the bullet points, but this slide is just to provide you, and again, we will provide this PowerPoint to, the PDF to the councillor's office for to pass it on to yourselves. But this is just to provide you with Hala Bushy's contact information, her email, and she asked me to encourage all of you, anyone, to reach out to her about what does a business association look like for Elgin area, Elgin Street, what worked for them, what doesn't work for them. And as well, I just had some bullets of some key programming initiatives that the Elgin Area Business Association undertook. A big one, if you're not familiar, Elgin Street underwent a major revitalization project, and it opened just as COVID was starting. So it was good timing, but then bad timing for the businesses. But throughout that, the business association, they wanted to do a social media marketing campaign to let people know that during the construction, which saw Elgin Street closed, that the businesses were still open. So they had an initiative called I Dig Elgin. I think it was very successful, and it continued to draw foot traffic to the Elgin Street area. So again, you are more than welcome to reach out to Hala, and you can have those informal conversations with her relating to business associations. Next slide, thank you. So that concludes. So thank you very much for allowing us to present, and thank you to Councillor Kavanagh for inviting us. Again, we'd be happy to meet with you and the councillor for any informal street tours or meetings to look at how the city can help. We can take some questions. If we don't have the answers for you, you have our emails. We can get your contact information. We can get back to you. Again, we can meet through Zoom or through Teams or safely in person. But we'd be happy to do that. I'll now thank you again. I'll pass it back to Councillor Kavanagh.
Excellent, Mike. That was great, and thanks, Dan, for being here as well. Very useful information. It's just basically to say the city wants you to do well. We grow because you grow, and it's the small business is the backbone of the city. So we respect that, and that's why we wanted to reach out to you. So appreciate it. So I'll open it up to questions, and you can either raise your hand like the raise hand function, or put up your hand like this, or you can just unmute yourself. We have it on so that you can unmute yourself, since we're not a big group, so I don't think we'll be talking over each other. Does anybody have any questions? You can use chat too, by the way. If you don't feel like speaking and you prefer to put things in writing, you can put it in the chat function, which is fine as well. Anyone? So
I guess I will go, Theresa, if there is nobody.
Okay.
It's Muhammad Abu Qasim. I'm the Morton owner on Carling Avenue and also on Richmond Road.
Yep.
Even though I am a tenant on those two properties, but I'm still responsible for property taxes. Where does the process start for applying for the adjustment for the property tax? Do we start by going through your office first, or is it something you're going to email us a link for the city where to apply?
Okay, I'll pass that on to Mike, see if he can help you.
Yeah, so again, we'll provide the presentation to you, but in terms of for the small business property subclass tax, excuse me, there's nothing for eligible individuals to do. The city will be informing, I'm just looking back at the timeline. So in this month, excuse me, so it's MPAC will be giving the information to the City of Ottawa. So it's going to be automatic. The city will be mailing out that information to eligible properties. So you as whether you're a property owner, as you mentioned, a tenant, so in this case, your landlord would be, or your property owner would be receiving that information automatically from the city, just as you would receiving a property tax bill. Myself, Dan, we're both obviously Councillor Kavanagh, we're residents within the City of Ottawa, so you automatically would receive a tax bill. So you would receive that information. Something you if you do want to have, and again, I put the, there's a specific email you can contact. So it wasn't necessarily our team that led this, it was finance services staff. But if you have, if you're having conversations with your landlord, ultimately, you could start having those conversations whenever you wish. Just make them aware that, this is something that is coming and to keep an eye on it. There is, if your landlord does not receive that notification, as mentioned on slide 5, there's a request for reconsideration and appeal. So you can actually appeal back to the city if you feel that your property should have been deemed eligible. So I would say once the councillor sends out this PDF, which will include some email contacts to finance services staff, as well as myself and Dan, and as well as some links to ottawa.ca to the specific pages that have more information. Again, I would encourage you to, I believe it was on slide 4, the last bullet, I just put the, so all, if you're not aware, all city committee meetings and city councillor are on YouTube, and they're available, they're in the archives. You can watch, if you want, you can watch any city committee meeting or council. So I specifically linked the FEDCO meeting from October 5th of this year. And I put the specific, it was at the 40-minute mark. You can watch the presentation from the Deputy City Treasurer, Joseph, who did a great job of explaining what properties will be eligible. And as well, he took some, as Councillor Kavanagh would know, I believe she asked a question to city staff. Joseph took some great questions from the elected officials from City Council, and I think it'll provide you with some great background, some great information, some context. It's not very long. I believe it was about 30 minutes of that specific committee meeting. So if you don't want to watch the whole committee meeting, then that's no problem. So again, once that gets emailed out, I would encourage you to watch it. But again, nothing for property owners to do. It will be automatically mailed to them through their property taxes. So I hope that answers your questions. Long story long.
Did you have any further questions, Mohammed?
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who needs Netflix?
Thank you, Theresa, for the opportunity as well.
You can watch committee meetings.
No charge either.
Yeah. By the way, I am not on FEDCO, but I show up at the meetings as all councillors do. You don't have to be on a committee. You can show up at any committee and ask questions and get answers. So, which I do regularly, and we'll do that again on Friday when there's another FEDCO meeting, which will be more about stage 2, not about small business this time. So, which is very important, and it's actually a big thing for our end of town. Bay Ward is probably the most affected by the stage 2. Well, obviously the construction, everyone can see that. It looks like a big mess right now, but it's on the verge of starting to look like an actual system, and it's going to bring a lot of people here. We're going to have more intensification. We're going to see more development. This is going to be a very prosperous area, and we're expecting more and more. Developers are coming in with the official plan. The part of that is intensification in urban areas, and Bay Ward is kind of divided in two, where one part of it is called inner urban, which is more targeted for intensification. The other is outer urban, which is not as targeted, but yet arterial roads are. So more intensification along Carling and Richmond. Those are the two big ones in our city, our ward right now. So that just gives you an indication that we're going to grow. There'll be more people living here. There'll be more demand for services and businesses. So lots of potential coming. And it's very exciting. It's very, very exciting. And I know from most of your locations, you're right around it. So it's good news. I know there's a number of issues that are current issues. I mean, you can't ignore COVID. It's obviously not going away yet. And that's a reason why the city was looking at ways to reach out to small business, because we know it's been tough. I know there's labor shortages, et cetera. And those are all things that are going on. I see Giselle nodding her head. Yeah, I was just talking to a small business owner who's, trying to keep people working for them. And that's a constant a theme that we're hearing. So if there's any other specific concerns, just in general, it's an opportunity to talk to each other as well. So Giselle, how is it going right now for you in terms of your business?
Things are going well. Thank you for asking. Thank you. Yeah, so for those of you who haven't been in Britannia for a little bit, I'm the owner of the Britannia Bake Shop that opened in the spring after a very long lockdown, and to a lot of excitement from the community that was finally allowed to leave their houses. So it was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, and it's a great addition. It really animates that corner of Britannia and Howe. There was, very little at that previously. Things came and went, but this is something that people can come to daily because it's food related, and they can pop in, and yeah, it certainly does feel like gives it a village feeling. So it's great. So no, very exciting. It has a throwback vibe to it of the days of when it was an actual village. So I mean, with the coffee shop across the street, it's a nice companion. And that's the thing, if businesses are close together, it actually helps. It makes a difference because you're going through the area anyway, and you notice things in a business you were going to go to, and then you see another, and it's a great attraction. So which is why it's great to talk to each other and work together as much as we can. So these are first steps in Bay Ward. We'd like to connect businesses with each other. What we're going to do is have a mailing list. As you know, my staff and myself as well have been going door to door to talk to businesses, and we're going to continue doing that. We're not going to stop yet, and just see what we can do in terms of bringing people together, and it just gives people a reason to come out this way. I think we're the new Westboro. I think Westboro is gets a lot of attention. I can remember when nobody went there. I lived not far from there, and it was very quiet for a long time. But it changed, and more energy is coming west. And with our transit stops, I think we're going to see a lot more energy in Bay Ward. So it's an exciting time, and I think that we're gonna do well. And so it might be a time to work together, and like Mike was talking about with and Dan, Elgin Street pulled together. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did not have an association before, but they kind of pulled together during the construction. Is that what happened, Mike?
I believe so. I'm not, again, if Hala was here, she could confirm. I'm not sure when the business association was established, but yeah, and speaking with Hala from the business association, that's when they really kind of banded together, because for obviously Councillor, you're familiar with Elgin Street, but people on this call, if you're not so familiar with Elgin Street, the revitalization project, I mean, the after effect, I personally think Elgin looks great. It was, really unfortunate timing because it was completed just as COVID was starting. But, it was, I believe, around 2 years of sections of construction. So this is why they kind of either they already had a business association or they formed one to communicate with one another and to really get the word out. And also they did, I believe it was one of my bullets, but even doing, banners on street poles, flower pots on, just to try and beautify the street as much as possible during the construction. And I know I was talking to Halal, and they still, I remember, still going out on Elgin to restaurants and whatnot during the construction. And I think they did a great job of kind of maintaining confidence and attractiveness and really encouraging people. And the biggest thing was through social media, obviously, getting the word out and letting people know that Elgin Street's still open for business.
Yeah, we're going to get that kind of vibe on Richmond Road more because it's the reconstruction from after, once the stage 2 construction is done, they will be making it a complete street. So there'll be more opportunity to make it more walkable and cyclable. And so it'll be easier access along Richmond Road. The same thing is going to be tried on Carling, but it's not going to, I don't think it's going to feel the same. But we've got lots of things happening, including the secondary plan for Lincoln Fields, which isn't just about the Lincoln Fields area, the actual lot. It's the surrounding areas too. So that's a development file, but working with the communities on how the development grows. But it's obviously going to have an impact on small business. And I know Mike is probably keeping an eye on that with the development that's happening around him. I did look into those files, Mike, in terms of the development that's next door to you. They're still pending. I meant to get back to you. I just got the answer in terms of the construction that's right beside you. So there's still some back and forth, I guess, on the applications. So it's not completed. So we'll hear more as it progresses. There's a lot of back and forth when development happens. And we can't be privy, of course, to what it is, but it just means that the city is asking for certain things, and the developer has to provide them in terms of showing that they can build within the guidelines. So, but that's part of what we expect to see on Richmond Road is a lot more buildings. That we expect to see that around the stations, for example, around New Orchard, and that's already happening. We've got the Azure building, of course, at the corner of Woodruff and Richmond. So, and there could be a coffee shop or something in the main floor. There will be a commercial of some kind. We don't know what it is, but it adds in because it just means more people will come out this way and check things out. So very positive. Is there anything that anyone wants to specifically ask about that they're having concerns about in their business? I know labor shortage is a big issue. How many are having to deal with that? Oh, okay, Giselle.
I,
Anyone
I, can, I can tell you, Teresa, I think it has been the toughest year since I started my business in 97.
In 97?
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
And I think
Yeah.
this year is one of the hardest years we ever, since last year when the whole COVID started.
Yeah. And you stayed open most of the time, right?
We never closed.
Yeah.
We locked up, we stayed as a drive-through for a few weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks, and then we opened the dining room for takeout. That was continuing on, but there was a shutdown for the dining room for a long time.
Yeah. Yes, no, the labor shortage is pretty intense. I just got a flyer in the mail from a grocery chain, won't say who, not about food, but saying we have jobs, come work for us. That's from a grocery chain. So, and they're, you know, usually they're unionized jobs, so they're better paid, but people aren't going there. So it's been a tough year for sure. And I don't know if there's ways that I don't think the city can help us directly in that, but if there's suggestions that others have tried in terms of attracting workers, even, you know, ways to advertise for workers, is there anything that Dan or Mike have that you know of?
No, nothing really specific that I know of. We have our core staff, but we could definitely use a few more, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it would just make it a little bit easier, eh? To if you could get a few more people in. And it's up and down, because I'm wondering if there's going to be restrictions again after hearing the news about shutdowns for travel. Internet. What's next? But so that it's difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. We've also had 2 break-ins at the restaurant in the last 6 months, which is the first time. We've been there since '99, and it's the first 2 we've had since '99.
Wow.
So hopefully that's a trend that doesn't continue.
Oh my goodness. Okay. In terms of the area, I hear from residents, of course, and we've had car break-ins. There are waves of car break-ins, but not as many house break-ins. They seem to be going for cars. That seems to be a pattern that we've seen lately. But I sure hope that doesn't continue. Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry to.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if have you been in contact with like a community police officer? Obviously, I assume you would have reported these break-ins, but.
Yeah, we dealt with the police on both, and they were phenomenal on both cases. Okay. The first one, they actually followed the guy that broke in. He cut himself and left droplets of blood from the front door of the restaurant right to the front door of his house. So they were able to follow the droplets of blood and actually arrest him. And then the second one, which was just a couple weeks ago, he's a guy that they know that's apparently broken into 6 or 7 places in the area that they just haven't been able to get enough evidence on just yet. So, but I can't say enough about how good the police and the detectives were with both of them.
Nice, that's good to hear.
Yeah. Good to hear, yeah. I'm afraid I'm hearing this, that like when I hear of a neighborhood rash of break-ins, it's usually 1 or 2 people, and it's just hard to catch someone and prove that they're the ones that did it. It's a tough one, because it's hard to collect evidence and have an absolute proof, or otherwise it falls apart.
Yeah.
But well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mike, but I'm glad to that.
Yeah. But other than that, we've just been plugging away, and you know, things are as good as they can be, and we just keep going at it.
Yeah. Mike, I don't know if I introduced you, because I think it'd be good for you to introduce yourself to let people know business you're in?
Yeah, it's Biagio's on Richmond Road.
Yeah.
And we've been open through the whole pandemic. We've stayed open and done takeout, and we have tremendous support amongst the community. Loyal clientele. It's been pretty neat connecting more and more with our clientele. So
no, you do have a good back and forth with the community, and it pays off. I know that, for example, that you've had the Wood Park community garden people working with you on growing vegetables and
exactly.
So that's great.
Yeah,
it's great interaction. I admire that and appreciate it. It's super. Is anybody else like to introduce themselves to let us know what business they're in? Michael Wood.
Good evening, Councillor. I'm just here listening in, actually. So I sold my business, Ottawa Special Events, back in September, and earned my 50% share. And I've been advocating for small businesses and meeting with the Premier's office, meeting with the Prime Minister's office, all the way down for more support. And we'll be meeting with the Premier's office again on Monday. So I'm just here listening tonight. So
excellent. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you coming out. Pure Envy Eco Spa. We've met before, and you've been great in terms of coming out to the community and interacting.
Thanks.
There you go.
I find we're kind of, our business is tucked in between 4 bigger community associations, and I'm not even sure which community association, if there is any in our area, that I would fall into, but we're kind of tucked in between Woodruff North, Carlingwood, Westboro, and Britannia. So it's kind of it's an interesting little neck of the woods, which I'm hoping with all the development going around us that we'll see more traffic and stuff.
Yes, I expect you will. You've got the Azure across the street, and you've got a twin building of the Richmond on, I forgot the address, but just east of you. So lots happening there, and I expect. Great, and you're holding out okay. I mean, you're in a tough spot for pandemic. I guess that was a tough one.
Yeah, we were given permission by the province to fully open if we wanted to, and we just decided to keep working, 6-12 feet apart, keep our numbers low in here, because we're kind of tired of changing everyone's schedule, opening and closing and changing and reducing. So we're just going to wait out to the new year and see how everything goes, and sort of like hanging on by a bit of a prayer sometimes, it feels like. But I think we were closed in the last 18 months. 7-8 months. We did what we could for retail curbside pickup, but it doesn't cover the bills. So
yeah, but appreciate you being there, and I think you are in a good location for what's coming up.
Yeah.
No, well, thank you. And I know that you've been a good community partner as well, like Mike, in terms of making donations to local associations and Britannia Woods. I remember that. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Kira Hamilton. Sorry to put you on the spot, but it's just interesting for everyone to hear what businesses we have here. Okay, well, we won't push you too much, but if you feel like just describing yourself, that would be great for us to know what you're doing in Bay Ward and what businesses we have. Yeah. So that's great. I don't know if I've missed anybody.
Hi, Councillor. It's Dan here. I just wanted to chime in. I know Mike did the lion's share of the talking on behalf of our group, but just put the face to the name. My name is Dan Oliver. I work with Mike in the Economic Development Group at the city. Obviously, I wish you guys all well. I hope you gleaned some good information from what Mike had to share, but I also wanted to chime in and advise that the ottawa.ca/business page is a page that we try to keep up to date as best possible at all times, and that should include a variety of resources and links related to what we, the city, can do, but also we try and pull resources available from both the province and the federal government to ensure that we provide as best possible a one-stop shop of resources for local Ottawa businesses. So please keep your eyes on that. We also have an email address, economicrecovery@ottawa.ca. You can contact Mike or myself directly, but that inbox is monitored regularly by economic development officers who have it in their job description and in their best interest to get back to you as best possible with any relevant information or answers to your questions. But yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself and wish you guys all the very best. And I know it's been a really tough time for business owners at all levels, but particularly small business owners who, as Mike mentioned, are truly the backbone of our local economy. We definitely are here to support. So,
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. And thank everyone for coming out. I just want to introduce a couple of my staff who some of you may have met, Sue Garvey and Selwyn Kayambi is here as well. They were the ones that were going door to door and with me. And when I was busy with committees, they were going out on my behalf, and I really appreciated it. I know Selwyn was enjoying it and meeting all the different people that we have in our community. I think the takeaway I have is the variety we have, and especially the cultural variety we have in Bay Ward. We have just about everything, and in terms of food and little supermarkets, quite a variety. And I think it just adds to the community. I personally think we're the best kept secret in Ottawa because we've got so much to offer here in this community. So anyway, thank you, Selwyn and Sue, for all the work you've done, and Connie, who's here doing the technical on our behalf. So please don't hesitate to ask further questions later if something comes in your mind that that you think of. Please let us know, because working together is the best way to help each other, and we all prosper when there's cooperation. So I appreciate you coming out, and I really wish you the best in 2022. Let's hope this is the one that brings us all back to new levels. Okay, thank you very much, and have a good evening. And thank you again, Mike and Dan, for bringing us together. And Ms. Boucher, I appreciate her offer to other businesses. That's very generous.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.